I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Rihanna, and welcome back to Fresh Off the Broke.
Fresh Off the Broke is about personal experiences growing up Asian American in a predominantly white community, Asian media, and Asian pop culture in general. Race has always been a sensitive topic. Every day, there are debates over race. With our podcast, we intend to shed light on the experiences of first-generation Asian immigrants, not put them on a pedestal.
We understand that race isn't everything, but there should be an acknowledgement of people of color, the knowledge gap, and the racial divide that will ideally be broken. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into the episode. Today we will be discussing double eyelids. Before we jump right into the episode, I just want to say that I would love for this to be a two-part series in which this episode we discuss are double eyelids better, and the second episode I get double eyelid surgery. We'll get into it as to why I say that, but that'll probably never happen, and not because I think that I would not want double eyelid surgery. It's because I can't afford it. So again, we'll get into it. Just wanted to put that out there.
Oh, and to add on to what Rihanna was saying about are double eyelids better, the purpose of this episode is to discuss this whole phenomenon within mostly like East Asia, where there's this expectation or a beauty standard about double eyelids. And we will explain what double eyelids are in a sec, but that's what the episode is. So this is what she means by are double eyelids better? We don't mean it in it's a rhetorical question you will come to see.
Yes.
But it's not we're gonna find out that they are better.
Yeah, this is not like a judgment episode.
Let us know if you want us to do a judgment episode on anything.
Yeah, I'd be down.
Start making tier lists.
So down. Let us know.
Yeah.
Please. To give a base definition, so we're all talking about the same thing. According to the internet, a double eyelid has a visible eyelid crease. It is the opposite of a single or monolid that has no crease. And to note, both doubles and single eyelids are normal and require no medical intervention.
I actually really appreciate that they added that last line where they said that double eyelids and single or monolid are normal and don't require they don't what's the word? They don't automatically signify that you need plastic surgery to fix it.
And typically people of Asian descent, well, mostly East Asian descent, I'd say, do have a monolid. Which is stereotypically why eyes look smaller. Monolids, just because there's no crease, the eye doesn't open up as much, just like the way physically. So yeah.
One other thing, double eyelids, even though yes, there is a general definition of what they look like, they don't all look the same. One thing that has been noticed within East Asians, or I guess the Asian community, is there's something called an epicanthic
fold.
Yeah. Where the front of the fold kind of it kind of goes into hang on. I will pull up an image for y'all. I guess if you're not watching, then you won't be able to see. Okay. So the front part kind of folds over, and so you only see the end of the fold. So typical double eyelids you can see the entire line where it folds.
Mhm.
But with how do you say it?
Epicampic fold.
Epicampic fold,
Mhm.
you only see half of it because it folds over rather than folding in not single file line, but in one motion, kind of.
Mhm.
I just wanted to add that for the people.
Mhm. And even just in general, like you could have an eyelid crease, like technically a double eyelid, but it may not look like one, or it's not like very deep, so it just looks like a line. And this is me basically talking about my own self. Um, but they're hard to distinguish, honestly. If they're not like prominent and stereotypical, like you could look at someone and be like, they don't have double eyelids, but they have a crease. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Very, very blurred line. And that's not a bad thing. So typically, double eyelids are obtained in two different ways, either surgery or through double eyelid tape. Surgery is permanent, double eyelid tape is temporary. And I think the main thing that we're going to be discussing this episode is surgery. Um, the surgery itself is considered double eyelid surgery, or it's also called Asian blepharoplasty. It creates an eyelid crease resulting in a larger and more symmetric almond-shaped eye. The height from your upper lash line to the new eyelid crease is customized to your preference and existing anatomy. That is from Stanford, actually. But it is permanent and it is very, very, very common in Asia. Here in the West, not so much, but in Asia, it's very, very much a regular thing to get. Double eyelid tape, as I said, is temporary, and it is exactly what it sounds like. So there's two different types. There's also double eyelid glue. Um, that's a little more finicky, but the tape is either a little tiny, tiny strip of double-sided tape that goes right on your eyelid, and when you push your eyelid back, like sink it into your eye socket a little bit, the tape will stick to itself or stick to the skin, and it will cause a little crease in your eye. And it'll make your eyes be a little more open because you're literally like taping parts of your skin together. There's also another version where it's one-sided and it's a little bit stronger. So it's not as like bendy per se. So it just goes on top of your eyelid. And when you open your eye, because there's a piece of like paper right on your eye, like following your eye shape, your eyeball shape, it like presses your eye open. It's really difficult to describe this, but it's essentially like when you open your eyes, because there's a piece of tape there, your eye stays open, is like more open. And the glue is basically the same thing as the double-sided tape, just you glue your eyes open a little bit. I don't think it's as popular because it's not as convenient as just a small piece of tape, essentially. But to note, this isn't like people like DIYing and using tape and stuff. Like this is an actual product that people buy in stores. Like double eyelid tape. It's a thing. In case you didn't know.
So, I mean, it sounds like you have pretty extensive knowledge on this, or you're it sounds weird to say you're well versed on this topic, but it sounds to me like you have some prior knowledge to this. So, do you have any, I mean, I guess you did kind of share personal opinions a little bit just now, but do you have any like preferences or things like
1000%.
that?
Um, I personally I don't really use it, or double eyelid tape, a lot. I don't really. I mean, I don't use it a lot though. I've never used glue because, again, liquid near your eye, glue near your eyeball, like that sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, hearing about it, it's scary.
Yeah, like I already like don't like the process of putting on fake lashes because of like the glue part. So why would I want to put glue
Mm-hmm.
directly onto my eyelid? Like no. Um, but I digress. The tape, I do have a preference. Um, so I have some weird eyes. Um, but my main thing is that like the tape that they make right now, or the tape that I have access to in person, is like way too thick for my eye shape. So if I'm using the
What do you mean
one-sided
by
tape,
thick?
so I mean like it takes up a lot of space on my eyelid. Like it's big.
Uh-huh.
It's too big essentially.
Right, got it. Got you.
Yeah. Um so I tried one-sided and it just looked horrible on me because it was too big. So I recently tried double-sided eyelid tape, which worked and was like it did the job. It just like it might just be me not being used to it on my own self, but I feel like it looks a little bit off. Again, like I don't use it often, so like I'm not familiar with I'm not comfortable enough to be like, I know where it should go. I know like how long it'll last. I know what makeup I can wear on top of it. You know, like there's a lot of like different variables to it looking good.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm currently on the lookout for skinny mesh single-sided double eyelid tape. And so the difference with the mesh is that it looks it's like more see-through looking. Well, when people advertise it online, it looks like it just disappears on your eye. While
Uh-huh.
the ones that aren't mesh, like if you put eyeshadow on top of it, it's gonna look weird because it's gonna look like there's a small strip of paper on your eye because the color's gonna come up differently, obviously, right? If you're wearing like eyeshadow. So I feel like the mesh might be good. However, I don't know if I'll find some that's small enough for my needs. If
Right.
anyone has any recommendations, please do share. I would love to hear and know because I would like to wear it more often. So, yeah,
Look Rihanna up.
for real,
Get her
please.
an eyelid tape plug.
For real.
Oh, actually, I had a question. So
Mhm.
you said that you don't use it very often. So, like, in what context do you usually use it in?
Well, it's more just like if I'm feeling up for it, I'll wear it. Um,
Uh-huh.
like it's like when I first started wearing lashes. I mean, I don't really wear lashes anyways, but like I do wear them more often. And before it was like do I feel like looking a little bit different today and like spending a little more time on my makeup today and possibly not having results that I want? Like, do I have patience today?
Uh-huh.
Again, not common, not like doesn't happen a lot. But like sometimes if I'm going out with a friend and like we're just gonna go to a place to take pictures for fun. Like maybe I'll be like, I'll pop on some double eyelid tip for now. Like it'll be fun. I just want pictures, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not like going to school every day with them on and stuff. Like this is very much just like if I feel like it and like under the right circumstance, I'll do it.
Uh-huh.
And I think
Well, what is it?
also
Yeah.
that has to do with the fact that like again, I'm not comfortable with using it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I do it and then it doesn't look as good as I want it to. So then I just don't want to do it anymore. But the only way to get better is to practice more. So it's just like this cycle of me never getting better at using it. So but yeah.
Got you. I have a follow-up question.
Yes.
How does it feel to have them on? Like, can you feel
Yes.
the weight, or does it feel weird when you blink or when you
Mhm.
move around?
So if you're using the one-sided ones, especially like the hard paper ones or like the thick paper ones, um, I really don't know how to describe it, but like, have you ever like put your finger on your eyelid or like there was something on your face that like held your eye open a little bit?
Yes.
It feels like that, but like small. And because it's paper, it's like a hard edge. So it takes a while to
Oh.
get used to it. Um, which I think is also a reason why I really didn't like using the one-sided tape, because it was just like constantly like feeling something pressing your eye open, like, and it's like a piece of paper, like it's not comfortable.
It doesn't sound pleasant.
No. Again, mesh sounds like it would feel better and look better. The double-sided eyelid tape literally feels like you're just taping your eye open. But it like
Oh, goodness.
you get used to it a lot faster and it's actually not that bad. It is a little weird when you blink. Because again, like your eye is taped open essentially. So when you blink your eye, it's like it's not what it should feel like. But other
Oh,
than that,
right.
like,
That's true. Because it's like,
yeah, like sometimes when I was getting used to it, it felt like I had to like squeeze my eyes shut to blink properly because you can't, it's like weird to do it just like naturally. Um, but I do prefer the sided eyelid tape a lot more.
double silent.
Double silenced. You were silent and silenced.
Oh, no. No. How tragic.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Now that all the talk about like double eyelid surgery, double eyelid tape, and I guess general, not to sound overly scientific, but the general methodology has
Mm-hmm.
been covered, let's move on to the background, like the motivation, and I get I don't want to say rationale because it sounds like we are rationalizing it or like
Mm-hmm.
justifying it, but we're basically talking about the background behind what's going on with double eyelid surgery, eyelid tape, and the general look, the double eyelid look.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said earlier in the episode, it feeds into a beauty standard. Like to have double eyelid is to be perceived as more beautiful. And especially in East Asia and also a bit of Southeast Asia, there is a lot of shame and a lot of judgment that gets passed on to people if they have small eyes. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you have small eyes and or you have monolith, you will be looked down on for a multitude of reasons, but partially because you don't fit the beauty standard, because
Mm-hmm.
there are certain beliefs or I guess potentially superstition in a way surrounding small eyes. So there's just this like general dislike, like a general societal dislike toward smaller eyes. And so double eyelids, they make your eyes look bigger because they kind of make your eyes pop a little. I guess
Mm-hmm.
if you have the epicaptic fold, it doesn't really make your eyes pop, but it just generally, I guess, makes your eyes like stick out more. uh, to the eye. No, to the to other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, this also kind of plays into a Eurocentric beauty standard because I mean, one of the things people say, uh, in like China, if you have really nice eyes, like really like quote unquote nice and big eyes, they might say like, "Wow, you look like a Westerner."
Mm-hmm. And that's a good thing.
Wait, I get what you mean. I get what you mean. Like they mean it as a good thing, not
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Personally, my own rationale for wanting to have double eyelids, or just use double eyelid tape, it's there's a lot of reasons. So the biggest one is that like I have one technically double eyelid and one monolid. Um, and depending on the time of day and just how puffy my face decides to be that day, sometimes like I'll have double eyelids on both eyes. Sometimes I'll have a really strong monolid on one and a really strong double eyelid on the other. And again, just because of like personal insecurity, like I think it makes my face look really, really crooked. So having double eyelid
Oh,
tape is very like convenient for me because I can choose where I want the eyelid crease to be on both of my eyes. Because even my like the eye that I technically have a double eyelid on, sometimes like it'll change. Like it'll just be in a different spot, or sometimes I'll have like multiple creases within my eye. It just
mm,
it's really like finicky, and makeup does help, but sometimes like having the security of like just putting double eyelid tape on and like setting where that crease is just makes it a lot more balanced on my own face. Um so that's the main reason. And I guess the underlying reason is just, or there's two. Um One, I grew up like listening to K-pop and consuming that type of media. So I just think that double eyelids are very like pretty. And I think that style, like that eye is just so something that I like, you know? Um, and the main underlying reason is that like I hear a lot of smack from like family members and lots of like just random Filipino people I meet about like how small my eyes are and how like just I don't fit the beauty standard in terms of like especially eyes. I've talked about this before, but um one there's a family member who not directly related to me, but she didn't realize I understood Tagalog, and she like looked at my mom and was like, "Rihanna looks like she constantly just woke up." And like she said it essentially like looking
oh
at
my
me to my
goodness.
face. Um
Oh my goodness.
and I like looked at her and was like, "I can understand you." She didn't care. But like I told when like my mom heard that and like other family members heard that, like they just started laughing because it's true. Like my eyes are small for a Filipino person. Um, which is not a bad thing. Like I like small eyes a lot on like it's like ugh, I hate using this term, but like foxy eyes, small eyes like that, monolids, they're great. Um, if I could somehow get my double eyelid to be a monolid, I would fully do that as well. But like the only way for me to even it out is to use double eyelid tape and get double eyelids. Like there's no way for me to glue my eyelid down to become a monolid. So like it's just the
Glue it
easier option.
down.
Yeah. Um but yeah, that's my rationale. I guess it's like I'm so easily impacted by things that I hear, which like makes sense, but also like, damn, when I say it out loud, kind of sucks. You know? What about you, Tiffany? What's your rationale, or how do you feel about double eyelids?
That's a good question because I guess I'm in an interesting spot. I don't mean interesting in the sense that I'm in a super unique spot, but so I don't personally really have any experience in terms of using double eyelid tape or using any other like double eyelid kind of tool.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely have a lot of experience in terms of like talking about double eyelid, or I guess I can definitely say that I have been very much affected by this trend, like this pressure
Mm-hmm.
and this like very heavy encouragement towards double eyelid. So I have double eyelid. Let me start off by saying that like I was born with double eyelid. I've always had double eyelid, and despite that, it still has always kind of been like a very big topic in my life because
Mm-hmm.
I would get the comment, I would get comments about my double eyelids, and they weren't like negative, but it was kind of weird because they would be along the lines of, for instance, when I was little, oh wow, she has double eyelids. This is good. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is the way. Or wow, she has double eyelids. Her eyes are so big. Like this, yes, this is this is
Good.
approved. This is the
Yeah.
way. This is,
You passed the
and of
test.
course, yeah, yeah. And of course, growing up, I didn't really get it. I just thought, oh wow, I'm so cool. I passed that test.
Mm-hmm.
But then as I grew up, like later in the years, I realized that, well, for one, it was pretty dumb. But two, like I realized the weight or the harm that came with what they were saying. Because
Mm-hmm.
I guess it never necessarily harmed me because like I was saying, do have double eyelids, so it wasn't like anyone was yelling at me to get them. But
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely, I don't know if I want to say new experience, but once you realize that kind of thing, you kind of start seeing or hearing situations in a new way.
Mm-hmm.
So that, yeah, that pretty much summed up my whole. Oh, wait, no. Okay, we haven't talked about this, but double eyelid filters,
Oh,
beauty filters, I mean,
oh, I
I
forgot
always
about
thought those
that.
were so strange because, well, I mean, for one, there are filters that I guess naturally incorporate a double eyelid, but I remember I used to have this Chinese filter app, like beauty filter or just video editing, photo editing, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a there was a filter on that app that was just called something along the lines of double eyelid filter, and you put it on and then it adds a little line where your what would you call, but yeah, there would be a line where I guess your double eyelid, like where the fold is
Crease,
supposed to be,
the
and it was, yeah,
crease.
where the crease is supposed to be, and it was so strange because it's like it's not not realistic, right? So I mean, I'm not saying
Mm-hmm.
it looked like there was a marker, but it was kind of funny looking. It
Mm-hmm.
definitely wasn't. I don't know if you could really fool anyone with that.
Mm.
And I mean, I guess you could say it's worth in the filters that aren't blatantly double eyelid filter, but
Mm-hmm.
beauty filter where they included kind of a double eyelid edit.
Mm. See. Yeah, filters like that kind of play into the whole pressure surrounding double eyelids. Um, Again, like you bringing up the beauty filters on these apps, me talking about how I consumed like K-pop media and how that was pressuring, I guess like unconsciously pressuring a young me into liking double eyelids. Like I had no idea what they were. I don't really care ultimately, but now look at me. Um, but just in general, even ads, especially in Korea, because I believe Korea is the hub for double eyelid surgery specifically. There are different ads in Korea with slogans like "Pretty girls all know" and "Just like my mother's choice." These are ads for double eyelid surgery places. That's crazy to me. Just like my mother's choice. That's wild.
You know, I'm really glad that you brought up this slogan thing because I remember one time I was walking walking down the street and there were one or two Korean plastic surgery clinics, and there was one in particular that had these banners. I think I might have mentioned this before. I either in conversation with you privately or
Mm,
on an episode before, but
mm.
they had this banner over the door, and it said something along the lines of what was it? You're so beautiful or you're so pretty. Wouldn't you want to be even prettier? Like, wouldn't you want to look even better? And
What a way.
I saw that across the street, and I kind of just stood there for a second, just taking it in and thinking, wow, this is what we're printing and putting on banners, huh?
Yeah, that is wild.
Yeah, and I mean, especially in places like Korea. I mean, there's also the whole thing about double eyelid surgery being a gift to people, like being a
Mm-hmm.
graduation gift for girls,
Mm-hmm.
which is so messed up, right? I mean,
Yeah.
when you graduate, I think it's high school, right? Or is it?
I think it's graduating high school, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Can can you imagine you graduate from school and then you're rewarded with plastic surgery?
That's
It really
crazy.
sucks because I mean, for one, how old are you when you graduate high school, right? You're getting
Yeah.
plastic surgery at 18, and then I mean, it definitely builds a very unhealthy perception of self, and then
Mm-hmm.
getting getting the surgery, it seems like a rite of passage into adulthood, which is very disturbing too.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I mean, I actually let's find out how much is double eyelid surgery.
My bet is on a year of tuition.
A year
Actually,
of
no, 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 no.
tuition.
That's way too much.
A year of tuition where?
Oh, like a standard year of tuition in a regular program in Canada, in Toronto, I think. No, not in Toronto.
How much is that?
7K, 6K, 8K, but that's way too much.
Originally, I thought you meant an average year tuition in America.
Oh, no,
And I
no,
was
no, no, no,
thinking,
no, no, no,
whoa.
no. How much do you think?
Okay, I am here.
Oh, you know the answer.
Oh, I mean, I guess I can't really guess because I have some quotes before me.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, these kind of vary. It seems so. These sites that are coming up are kind of review sites.
Mm.
So take this information with a grain of salt, everyone.
Mm.
It seems the cheapest might be in South Korea. Double eyelid surgery cost around 3,900 Canadian.
Mm.
And then, oh, I think this website might be based in Australia because it compares it to Australian prices, saying
Mm.
compared to Australia, it's around, and then like insert a bunch of currency, 7,800 Canadian.
Yo!
So that would in Australia, like if you were to get double eyelid surgery in Australia, it would be the
7,000 Canadian?
that 7,800, so almost $8,000 Canadian. So
That is
that
such
would
a
be
weird.
the prediction that you gave.
Let's go. But that's not how much it actually is. I think in Korea it's like $1,000. That's what I'm seeing. Or like the very
Wait, a
cheap ones
thousand
are
in
like
what currency?
I think US actually.
Is this the cheapest you can get it for 800, but it might
Oh,
be on the sketchier side?
that's definitely like botched. If you want a star on botched, then pay 800.
I
Don't
feel
listen to
like
that
it's
advice.
when it comes to when it comes to surgery, it's not really something you would want to quote
Skimp
unquote
out.
cheap out on, right?
Yeah.
Especially it's your eye.
Hmm.
I'm already so scared of it. Took me such a long time in childhood to
Hmm.
even get used to and accept using eye drops. I remember when I was little and my parents would do them for me. I would always blink before the
Mm.
drop even made it. And the solution was that I would just do it myself because it was better than waiting and the dread and the anticipation of when it would the drop would come out. Just I'm too paranoid about things going near my eye. So I'm not saying that I'm planning on getting double eyelid surgery. I mean, I did say I have double eyelids, but can you get double eyelid surgery if you have double eyelids?
Yeah, of course. They would
Oh,
just it would
I guess that's
be
true. Because then they could just
yeah.
because if you weren't happy with the way yours looked, they could
Hmm.
rewrite.
Because it really
Mhm.
just
Okay,
depends on like where the crease is wanted.
that's true. Like if you had an epicampic and then you didn't
Hmm.
want one. That's kind of scary though, the idea of
Yeah,
yeah, I couldn't.
I
Stuff near my
could.
eyes freaks me out. I
um,
mean, now that you know the prices, what are your thoughts?
I mean, okay, because it's saying baseline or cheaper side is 1,000 USD going to Korea. That's a lot more money considering like going to Korea, the plane ticket, accommodations, everything else. Like,
That's true. I don't know if you could fly
yeah,
right away.
yeah. And I feel like this is a type of surgery that like leaves you temporarily blind.
That that's very possible.
So I wouldn't do it. But if I were like, if I were in Korea, actually no, I that would change everything. But I think if I were in a situation where they were offered to me as a gift, I'd be like, yup, let's do it.
So you want the graduation gift?
I would. And I want to say with some sort of nuance though, because maybe this is just me telling myself this, but I genuinely only like the main reason as to why I want to have a part 2 to this episode is because I really like it really bothers me that my eyes are uneven. I feel like people probably don't notice that anyways because I don't let people get that close to me, but it does bother me. And it's not like, oh, I think like double eyelids are like the go-to beauty standard and you look ugly without them. And like I'm not like going up to people with double eyelids and being like, oh my God, you are peak beauty, you know. But
Can you
I just
imagine?
imagine. I just I would like some symmetry onto my very asymmetrical face. And I feel like that would fix half of my problems with my face. No, it would fix like 1% of my problems with my face, but you know what I
Oh
mean.
my goodness. This is one of the websites I'm on right now when I was looking up cost is this one has such an interesting, such a colorful introduction about double eyelids.
Mm.
It reads, sometimes we may feel our eyes look dull or tired. It can feel like no matter what you do, your overall appearance is that lethar wait,
Lethargic.
lethargy?
Lethargic.
No, no, no. Ends with a Y. So Lethargy.
Oh, lethargy? Yeah.
Yeah, lethargy. Yeah. So no matter what you do, your overall appearance is that of lethargy or
Oh,
exhaustion. Overall, a more awake or wide-eyed appearance is usually preferred and associated with a more pleasing face.
damn.
And then there's more, blah, blah. And then at the end, it says, if you feel unsatisfied with your current eye shape and would like to find ways to improve the appearance of your eye, keep reading.
Damn. That's interesting because I feel like that plays into another pressure of bullying and just like essentially making someone feel like they need to get it. In this case, bullying.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there are definitely instances where people make fun of other people for having small eyes.
Yeah, take like my entire childhood and now,
Yeah,
and like
exactly.
most Asian girls and boys, people, like that's a big part of growing up if you have small eyes or monolids or uneven eyes, such as I.
And I mean, especially when you're young, I guess amongst children, they're very blunt and they point things out and they're very mean. And they also have mob mentality, so that's just
Uh-huh.
very unpleasant.
Yeah.
And then especially with the whole like Asian auntie or like that type of culture, they are very like they tend to be pretty gossipy and then like say things at you to your face
Yep.
that aren't very nice.
But
And it just feels like there's just yes, and then it just feels like there's all these opinions, or I guess the same opinion over and over again being parroted to you. Is parroted the right word? Let's just say so. Like they just the same things coming at you over and over again. It's gonna bother you,
yeah, of course.
even just a little bit.
Yeah. People are mean.
So unnecessarily.
For real. Especially as children. It's like that's a child. Why are you bullying a child at your age? Whether that be the same age or your grown age as an adult. Like you're awful.
Wait, what do you mean by same age? Oh, you mean like
Like a
a
classmate
10-year-old bullying a
bullying.
10-year-old?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I guess it probably comes from maybe their parents or their
Oh,
family
of course, of course.
speaking poorly, which really sucks, right? I mean, we've probably talked about this a lot, but it makes me sad how hatred is taught.
Yeah. Children are mere byproducts of their environments.
Mm-hmm.
So, moral of the story, don't be a bully. This is just one big bullying campaign.
Anti-bullying.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it's always so interesting, not in a good way, but because because double eyelids really don't mean anything.
Yeah.
But then there's just so much going on. I mean, there's this huge industry built around it. It's just
Interesting.
it's so bizarre. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it really sucks because then this is a whole other conversation for a whole other episode and potentially a whole other podcast. But I mean,
Mm-hmm,
the way that the beauty industry is able to capitalize off of people's insecurities,
mm-hmm.
because I mean, the just the double eyelid quote unquote industry is huge. It's massive.
Mm-hmm. It reminds me of the skin whitening industry in the Philippines. Same thing, different fonts. Very upsetting, but also just interesting to look at and like break down. I guess the real moral of the story is if you find yourself asking yourself, are double eyelids better? Don't be pressured when answering that question for your own self. I know it's hard, but truly, if you think double eyelids are better, that should just be up to you and what you think looks good. Not because, well, people have told me my eyes are ugly. I've been advertised double eyelids as better, therefore I think they are. I
I
know it's
mean, again,
difficult, but
yeah.
you need to make the decision for your own self because otherwise you are just like a child and are a mere byproduct of your own environment.
Yeah. It's it's so I mean we talked about this, but it's just so interesting how a fold, a crease, has such a powerful hold on
Yeah, whole industry.
society.
Mm-hmm. Jobs are built based on this.
Hmm. And
People's lives are based on this.
I'm sure they're innovating new technology.
Mm-hmm.
And then one final note, much easier said than done, of course, we recognize, but we just want to remind everyone to love themselves.
Period.
Because, I mean, your relationship with your appearance is kind of like a lifelong one that you grapple with. Because the thing with, not to sound super existential or whatever, but you kind of are stuck with yourself
Mm-hmm.
and I guess the way you look for a lifetime, right? And so, like,
Mm-hmm.
this relationship with your appearance is something that you will grapple with for a lifetime. And so, I mean, I guess in general, the whole graduation gift thing like that is more imposed on the person, but I think it's really important to like sit and think very critically and for some time about, I don't know, like potentially if you were to get like double eyelid surgery, because especially if you're really young, it it can have a pretty big impact in their life, whether it's financially or appearance wise. And if you make a decision, like a rash decision or like an impulse decision, whether the decision be to get double eyelid surgery or to, I don't know, get like $800 double eyelid surgery, you're gonna have to think about the repercussions and like the possibility of you not liking the surgery or not liking the way you look after it.
Or just like the possible like things that could go wrong with the surgery. It's still a surgery. At the end of the day, we all need to love ourselves. And that's that.
And the yellow hearts out with little fortune cookies.
Yes.
Well, we reached the end of the episode. I mean, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us on this conversation. We hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to leave a comment down below. Do you have monolids? Do you have double eyelids? Do you have a monolid and a double eyelid?
Yeah, I would
let
love
us
to
know
hear.
what yeah, let us know what your sounds weird, but let us know what your eyelid situation is. Let us know if you have any experience using double eyelid, tape, or glue. What was the request you gave earlier? If someone had good glue.
Oh, yeah, recommendations for tape. Mesh tape that's small, please. Let me know.
Yeah, and let us know if you have any experience with surgery. Did you get surgery? Do you know someone that is a surgeon for this procedure?
You have cheap prices? Where is it? What's the travel ticket to that place look like? How long is the recovery period for? Okay, I need to stop.
Oh my goodness. You're gonna hide her email down in the description.
Yeah, please. If you guys like this episode and want to stay connected with us, check out our website in the description. It contains links to our streaming platforms such as Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and more. Follow us for more behind-the-scenes content, announcements, and other random things we decide to put on there